Hello! Another edition of Insane in the Membrane awaits you. I thought I'd have a quick chat before we get into it. I hope you're well, I hope you're good. Not done one of these for a while. Just been doing like we've got the other introduction that we do, like we're a proper TV radio show. But we've got loads to tell you, loads of stuff coming up. I'm doing another podcast with my good friend Rachel Wellesley. It's called But Please Don't Panic, and it's about B movies and cult movies, like Sharktopus and Sharknado and things like that. We got an episode out about the film Killer Sofa, and it's just about those films. We love watching those films. Some of them are utter nonsense, and it's just Wellesley and I having a chat. It normally goes off on tangents about all manner of things. So that's available wherever you get your podcasts from. Us on Acast and Spotify. It's called But Please Don't Panic. I think we've got 8 episodes up now. We've got a load more coming your way. And it's just nice talking to Wellesley about these things. And Wellesley, I love Wellesley. I love working with her. She's autistic and she's got ADHD and things like that. And it's interesting trying to get someone to focus, to sit down and say, right, we're going to watch this film, and trying to get her to focus on what we're doing and working with somebody that has these things. It's fascinating. It's really helping me understand autism and ADHD a lot more than I have done. So it's not just a podcast about films. It's about people, working with people that are neurodiverse. And trying to get a better understanding of that, and when you say like, right, we're going to watch that film, and then their brain just goes, no, we're not. And it's been really fascinating working with her. We have such a laugh. So tune into that. That's But Please Don't Panic, available everywhere. Also coming up in a few weeks' time, we've got Never Mind the Age Gap that I'm doing with my beautiful wife Kate McGann, and that's come from when people talk about age gaps. People go a bit weird, and it's like, well, we know Kate's, she's 37, she's late 30s. I'm early 50s. It's not a massive thing, but people get a bit funny about it sometimes. So we're talking about that, and of course, when we announced it a few weeks ago, and there was a few comments, like people made comments about certain individuals. We're like, no, we're not. It's not about. We're not saying that. We're not talking about grooming, and we're not talking about adults going after children. Of course we're not. That's not what we're saying. It's like adults, grown-ups making decisions to be with each other regardless of how much of an age gap there is. I have to be honest, I'm 50. If it was sort of anyone sort of younger than Kate, then of course I'd be like, that just feels odd. And that's just that's from my side of things, and we're not bigging up that, but we're just talking about that. We're talking about age gaps, and we say, you tune into it, you'll find out. You'll hear. Of course, it's not bigging up grooming, for God's sake. So anyone that made that comment, right, go fuck yourself. So yeah, that's coming out very soon, and also my show on ITVX. You Can Have It So Much Better. That's still available. So go and tune into that if you wouldn't mind. If you wouldn't be, don't know what I was going with that. If you wouldn't mind, that would be lovely. I think you'll enjoy that show. There's a bit of swearing in it, as you know. I like a swear, so tune into that. And yeah, I hope you're good. And thank you for your continued support. Thank you to our patrons for carrying on being patrons. Honestly, without you, we'll be able to keep going. We really appreciate it, and if anyone fancies being a patron, go to our Patreon page and jumping on board, bung us a couple of quid a week, and that'll be great. A couple of quid a month, sorry, and that'll be lovely. Thank you so much. So, coming up in a minute, it's Phil Walker.
Insane in the Membrane.
Hello and welcome to another edition of your favourite podcast, Insane in the Membrane, with me, Rich Wilson, and this week I'm joined by brilliant comedian Phil Walker. Hello, Phil.
Hello, Rich. How are you, mate?
Yeah, good, mate. We should have done this ages ago. This is my fault. Sorry, mate. Here we are.
We're here now. We're here
now. That's the main thing, mate. That's the main thing. How you been? We were talking briefly about Iron Man.
Yeah, I did.
Not the film.
No, not the film. I did the full distance Iron Man this year. The UK Iron Man up here in Bolton. So great day in July. Great experience.
In July as well. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
How did that come about? Because most of us, we think about exercise and then we get told we should do more. But sometimes like, can't even be bothered to walk around the block. So how'd you get involved with that?
Well, like I say, I was during the lockdowns and stuff. The first lockdown, we all sort of let ourselves go a bit, drinking too much and eating too much because we didn't know how long it was going to last. And then I've always been into sort of exercise anyway, but hadn't really taken it that seriously. But we were lucky enough at the time to live by the seaside, so just started going out for long walks, and then the walks became runs, daily runs, and then I started swimming in the sea, which at the time was really clear because of, there was nothing in the sea at all. So it was like we had that really nice weather, didn't we, at the start of it all? And it was the sea, even in Blackpool, was because we lived in St Anne's near Blackpool, was clear.
Nice.
Honestly, it was like being abroad. And then I got back on my bike. Always liked cycling, so the roads were empty. So as a cyclist, it was just perfect for us. So I always wanted to cycle across the UK. It was always on my bucket list. So I cycled from Blackpool Tower to the Eiffel Tower to Scarborough in a day.
Jesus Christ!
And which is like 140 odd miles. Yeah. I'm with my wife as a support vehicle. She sort of followed me along as I went, and I just went, wow, if I could do that. Don't get me wrong, I was completely knackered because I didn't really know anything at that time about nutrition and stuff like that. I was just throwing sausage rolls and water down me to keep me going on the journey. But anyway, when we got out of it all, I was talking to a friend of mine, and I said, I really enjoyed that. And he said, you should do an Ironman. And I didn't even know what an Ironman was. This was like about 3 or 4 years ago. And he said he'd done one. He'd done the Wales one. So then I looked into it, and it was, if anyone doesn't know what it is, it involves swimming, 3 disciplines: swimming, cycling, and then running. So it's the full distance Ironman is a 2.4 mile swim in a lake, followed by 112 miles on a bike, and then a full marathon.
Jesus, a full marathon.
So, yeah, full 26 miles. Yeah.
Jesus.
So it was. Yeah, it was brutal, but I trained 2 years for it, and just sort of built myself up. But I mean, don't get me wrong. After about a year, the swimming was the hard bit for me. I'd swam, but I'd never swam properly.
No.
As in learning how to swim without being tired. The thought of swimming 2 miles in a lake was just like beyond my mind at the time. And I remember about a year ago, I turned to him when we were up in the Lake District. I just said, my mate Justin, I just said, I don't think I can do this, mate. The thought of doing this and then getting on a bike, and then having that marathon is just out of distance. So then I just went for coaching and did a lot of stuff. There's so much stuff on YouTube, and learned how to breathe properly underwater. When I say breathe underwater, just breathing out. Yeah. So you learn to sort of, it's almost you're swimming as if you're walking. You see people actually swimming in lakes and that, and you think, they're not really putting a shift in, but they're actually swimming within themselves. So they can you can actually swim for a long time if you do it properly.
Because I remember having lessons when I was at school, and you're swimming along, and when you're breathing out, you've got your face in the water.
That's it.
And then when you come up for air, you take your big gulp of air and then back down again.
Yeah. So many people hold their breath when they're swimming. So many people hold their breath, and that tightens your chest, and that's how you get tired, and you start, people panic in the water anyway. So it's learning how to be relaxed, and learning how to. So the idea of the training that I did, I mean, some of the top guys, they're obviously going for it full pelt. I just wanted to finish. So I was like, the training plan that I was on was just to sort of do each discipline without killing yourself, really. So I got myself to a fitness level where I could just sort of go along at a pace that I wanted, and I was comfortable that I would finish. So, great experience, though.
Yeah, inspirational, because I've been struggling lately with not necessarily my age, because I'm not. I'm only 51, so I can still jump over fences and things like that. I'm not struggling.
Who are you running from?
Yeah, myself mostly. but I'm aware. I don't know. I think it's more about the industry we're in, and that gets to me a little bit. And then but then this week I've had a breakthrough, and I'm like, I just need to focus on what's positive. And so, and like what you did, like in the lockdowns, especially, kind of highlighted how fragile what we do is. It could just be taken away just like that, and rather than give up and just like you say, just get pissed and fat. You've gone, fuck it, I'm going to go and do this. And that just goes to show you know who you really are when the shit hits the fan, like how you react. That's you at your purest form. And that's what you did. And I find that really inspirational.
Oh, thanks, mate. Yeah. You do, on things like that, you do find out stuff about yourself because, there are moments, it's a long day, 16 hours for me. On that journey, you do go to some dark places where you could just, and then you have to say, hang on a minute, you're on your own here.
Yeah.
There's no one's gonna magically pick you up and give you brand new legs so you can carry on running. You got to do it. And I think being a comic, what we do, it sort of lends itself to those sort of things. I can see how people box and stuff like that because you're on your own. You step onto that stage, put the mic in your hand. It's you against the audience. So the Ironman mentality was very much the same as being a comic. It's a lonely journey. You can train with friends, like when we do the weekends together and stuff. You're in the green room having a laugh and blah, blah, blah. That side of it's like the going out for a bike ride with a mate. But when your light comes for you to step out, you're on your own. And no matter how much your friends want you to do well, you've still got to do well and you still got to do it. It's just you. Yeah. And I think it was the same, like I say, with the Ironman.
Mate, because I remember, I was living in East London in Stratford, and I was working down in Southend, down that way, which is sort of further east. And I just one day I was like, fuck it, I'm going to cycle. I think it was still the shit was going on with the trains. I think I didn't have any money, and I went, fuck it, I got my bike. And I had a look on the map, and it said 2.5 hours on the bike to where I had to go. I'm like, well, I'll add another hour on for that because I've not cycled for a bit. You don't realise how hard it took me 4.5 hours to get to do a journey that would normally take you an hour and a half in a car or an hour and 20 in a car. It was fucking brutal. And I got just outside of where I needed to be, and I remember ringing the lads. I was working at SOS Clothing, and I rang the lads. I went, boys, I've really fucked up. They went, where are you? I'd already messaged him to say I'm going to be a bit late. I went, I'm here. I'm still an hour away, and I decided to cycle this morning. And he went, you fucking idiot. You don't realise it's all real people going, no, just get on your bike. But it's not that easy, is it? And so,
no.
And to cycle from Blackpool to Scarborough, which is basically the breadth of our fair island.
Yeah.
Fucking hell, mate.
Oh, that's mental, isn't it? Yeah. And there's quite a few hills as well. When you get near Yorkshire, it does get a bit tasty over those hills.
Mate, so would that have been you would have gone through the Peak District?
Yeah.
Fuck me.
Yeah.
That's bad enough in a
Beautiful.
car. Yeah, beautiful, but even
brutal.
in the car, mate, it's
beautifully brutal.
Did you must, because obviously, like you say, you trained, but did you train for that? Was that part of your training, or did you train to cycle that far?
Like I say, everything in hindsight, I hadn't done that far, and really I should have done more, really, in hindsight, because I was proper knackered after that for a good week or so. The legs were all gone and everything.
Yeah.
Luckily, I had my wife with me to drive me back.
Oh, right, yeah.
Because I wouldn't be able to drive back the next day. I really, for the Ironman, I really looked into, not only that, it's the nutritional side. There's the swimming, the cycling and the running, but you also have to get that side right. When you see these footballers or tennis players or any athlete that does endurance sport, they're nipping in these gels. I didn't even know what a gel was till recently. These sort of energy gels, they're like little tubes of goo, really.
Right.
Just full of carbohydrates. So it's learning how to use those along with like bars that you take, and the right sort of electrolytes in water. So because you lose loads of salt as you're sweating, and so there's that side. You've got to get that side of it right as well, so you can be really fit and ready for the Ironman or anything that you're doing. But if you don't put this stuff into your body, it's like driving a car. You're going to run out of petrol,
mate.
So it was So it was just interesting learning the sort of science of that side of it. And you kind of feel the effects on your body, if you do it right in training and get it right, it does benefit you. You can go, wow, I can carry on now.
That's the thing I got. There's Angela Barnes's husband, Matt. He runs everywhere. Like he'll just go, I'm just popping out for a run, and he'll run 50 miles.
Wow.
He just goes, and you're going, and I'm like, how do you run that far? But like you said, you train yourself to be able to breathe while you're doing it. So it's like you're just walking along. And
he won't be caning it for 50 miles. He'll be going at a pace that he's comfortable with. And taking the right fuel with him to keep him going.
That's such an important bit. It really is something about nutrition, just in general. If you're just living on shit, you're going to feel shit. And then you realise once you start drinking more water and just change it, just a few more fruits and vegetables. I know it sounds basic, but suddenly you're like, I feel all right today. You go, because you had a fucking carrot, you knobhead. You know.
And there's something to be said for even going for a walk. You don't have to go for a 50-mile run. Just going for a walk out in the countryside and just breathing in some fresh air.
Right.
And, we're lucky where we live now. We live up in the hills near Chorley, and we go out for big walks, and it's just stunning.
Yeah, nice.
And that can, not only physically, just mentally, it just really helps you. And you come back and you're like, I've written some nice pieces when I've been out walking, because your brain's relaxed and you just go, that's an idea for something, rather than just dossing about in your bed or whatever.
Yeah, I think that's it. It's getting up and doing stuff. And again, I remember doing, I've said this already before, but I did the Three Peaks Challenge about 20 years ago. And I remember getting to Snowdon, which was the last one. So you start off at Ben Nevis, then it's Scaffell Pike, and then it's in the Yorkshire, and then I think it's Yorkshire. And then it's Snowdon in Wales. And by the time we got there at 4 a.m. and I was like, I don't want to do it. I can't do it. It was pitch black. I don't want to do it. And anyway, I got dragged out of the van and went, you're fucking doing it. And I got dragged up the pig track, and we got to the base of Snowdon just before we were about to go up, and my leg started to wobble, and I'm like, I can't physically do it. And then my mate, Mr. Ian, he gave me a banana. He went, have that. And honestly, it was magical. The immediate effects is just, my legs stopped shaking, and I managed to get to the top from a banana, one banana. Yeah.
So sodium, you see, in banana, sodium.
There you go. See, look, now you're a whiz. Now you know all about this.
Yeah.
Do you think you'll do? I mean, it's a great achievement. Do you think you'll do anything like that again?
I can see how people get addicted to it. Like I spoke to one guy. He was beside me at the finish, and he was in his late 60s.
Wow.
And he's from Wales, but he's sinewy little bloke. You could tell he was like super fit for his age. And it turned out he'd done 8 Ironmen.
Jesus.
And he'd been doing triathlons all his life. And he just said, he said, Phil, you get addicted to it, isn't it? It's the finish, isn't it? And it was, and you can see it is like a drug. And having spoken to a few people that have done it as well, there's been quite a few guys that have had addictions in their life, like be it through drugs or drinking or overeating, whatever, and they've actually got into Ironman because the training is so much and the lifestyle is so much, and they just carry it on because it just rolls year into year, and it actually helps them, stay away from their demons that they're facing. You know? So,
Yeah. It does help when you start looking after yourself a bit more. It does help. But you've had an unusual life. You know, when your dad is Roy Walker.
Yeah.
Catchphrase. And then when was it seeing your dad? Because I remember your dad before Catchphrase. So I remember my mum and dad were huge fans. So we used to watch the comedians. And one of their favourites was Roy Walker. And they always, my dad used to quote him all the time and talk about talk about his mate Shuey and all that. And and I remember so that was part of my life growing up. And so when I got to sort of meet you and hang out with you, and it was like, well, it was quite a thing. And I can't imagine what it must have been like to have a famous dad like that. It must have been unusual for you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the comedians and stuff all happened when we were pretty young.
Yeah.
So a lot of my friends at school and me didn't really watch that.
Yeah.
But when he got the Catchphrase, that was sort of mid-'80s. So we were in high school then. And he, he started getting a lot more attention then because obviously it was a big program. And then it was like, oh God, that's Phil's dad, on telly. So it was a bit weird at first, getting that attention. There was a little bit of bullying that went on.
Oh shit, really?
Yeah, stuff like that. But nothing too bad, but your dad's crap and all that sort of thing. You know what kids are like. But it wasn't too bad. But that side of it, it was magical because at that time during the summer holidays we didn't really go away because my dad was that busy. So we went to wherever he was doing summer seasons.
Right.
And in those days he would do summer seasons in all these seaside places like Blackpool or Scarborough, Yarmouth or Eastbourne, Bournemouth. And they all had these piers or theatres, and they'd put a variety show on for the summer with the stars of TV of the day, Cannon and Ball and all these people.
Yeah.
And then, as we were kids, during the summer holidays, we would go to wherever he was, and then we'd go and watch the show at night, and we got to watch Freddie Starr 6 nights a week.
Wow.
Or, Black Abbott's Russ Abbott and people like that,
yeah.
Frank Carson, he was our Uncle Frank, he was just like this gag machine. He just never stopped, just telling gags all the time. It was, to me, I remember looking at him thinking I used to love watching the Flintstones, and Frank Carson just looked like Fred Flintstone with an Irish voice. So he used to double make me laugh just physically looking at him because I thought he was Fred Flintstone, but this Irish, just gags after gag. So growing up around those people, I guess it was natural for me and my siblings to sort of go into that because I've got a brother Mark, as you know, and
yeah.
He was a comic, and my sister Joanna, she's an actress. So, so we all went into it, but we were never sort of pushed into it. We just went to normal comprehensive schools and stuff, but it was just in us to sort of do it, really,
Yeah. And did you, when you were watching that, was that it? You were like, I want to be a comic.
Well, Mark more than me. Mark sort of had a lot more confidence. I was very shy up until I was in my early 20s, really.
Right.
So I didn't go into it straight away. I was just sort of drifted about from job to job. And then my dad said, well, why don't you... I said, I'd like to get into comedy, but I just don't know how. And at the time, I was watching... I remember... Jack D and people like that had just appeared on TV, and Lee Evans, and I was more attracted to them.
Yeah.
But I'd watched my dad and all these brilliant comedians just doing gags, but suddenly this alternative comedy had started, and then I was watching stuff on. My dad always had records of like Bob Newhart and
nice,
and people like that in his study, and he'd have the records of like Woody Allen and people like that just telling stories, and I just love that kind of comedy, but just didn't know how to access it. So anyway, put that to one side, and then he said, well, why don't you become a blue coat at Pontins? And I did that for a couple of years, You suddenly you're just thrown into calling the bingo and organising the lovely legs contest and all that lot. So I came back a different guy, you know, with full of a bit of swagger and you know, because I called the bingo, putting a few of my dad's jokes in or Freddie Starr's jokes in between the houses and getting big laughs. And then when you get that first big laugh, it's like a drug, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know. So I started coming back to Blackpool because we lived near Blackpool at the time, and I just started entering talent competitions and stuff around the area. Funny enough, last night I went to our local Chinese here in Chorley, and I bumped into Dave Spikey.
Oh wow!
From Phoenix Nights. He lives nearby here, and I hadn't seen him for ages. I knew he lived around here, but I just didn't know where. And apparently he lives abroad quite a lot now in Spain, but he just happened to be in the Chinese last night. So our eyes met, and then he came over and I went, all right, Phil. And he reminded me, he says, I remember, he said, I was a porter at a hospital years ago and I'd just getting into comedy. And he said, I entered a talent competition in Blackpool, and he said, and you were on it, and he said, you won. And he said, like, I was rubbish, I came last. And he said, at the time, I thought you'd been going for like years. And I'd just done 2 years as a blue coat. So I had all these jokes and impressions and stuff. Yeah. Even though I didn't have I had stage time.
That's
and confidence over him. So I said, yeah, but you went on to make millions and I'm still on the circuit.
That's the thing. It's like, this is one of the things I've been struggling with lately. It is bullshit. We get caught up in the bullshit of this industry. And I could hear, I've just had a conversation with producer Paul, and I was getting a bit not up myself, but a bit like, why I'm tired of being skint. I should be doing this, I should be doing that. No one's interested. And then you kind of go, hang on a minute, you've got a successful podcast, you got your kids are well, you got a baby on the way, and that's beautiful. Stop fucking moaning.
Yeah.
And it's not because you're shit, it's just because other people have had chances, and you just got to be grateful for what you've got, rather than.
And you don't know.
Yeah.
You know, from this, you never know what might happen for you. You know, you look at the likes of like Troy Hawke, who's been. I mean, he was doing jonglers with us years ago, Milo, wasn't he? And then suddenly he just clicked in with this Troy Hawke thing, and Dan Nightingale with his podcast, and suddenly you've got a following. I mean, who knows if you keep going the way you're going with this podcast, in another year you'll be able to just bypass all that worrying about going on live at the Apollo and stuff like that. And suddenly Rich Wilson from Insane in the Membrane is doing his own tour.
Yeah, I think that's it. We forget, and even if you're not in this industry, if you're in wherever industry you're in, I know people that work in insurance and work in all these other places, and they have the same conversations where they're going, oh, that fucking dickhead from the other office, we both went for the same position and he got it, and he's shit. I know he's shit, and he's cheating on his wife, and he's blah blah blah. and you go, oh yeah, it doesn't matter what you're doing. There's always going to be something that you're not happy with. You're always going to, and you have to be like listening today. So we've got a baby due in December, and my missus has sent me a voice note of the scan today.
Wow!
And she sent me the voice note with his heartbeat, and I just went, and I suddenly just melted, and I went, yeah, what am I fucking moaning about? What am I worrying about? He's doing well, she's doing well, we're doing well. Fucking pull your head in, mate. It's just you have to. At least you have the wherewithal to remind yourself. I haven't got completely lost up my own arse. You know what I mean?
It's easy to. I mean, I remember, getting out of like we all did, getting out of the lockdown, and then suddenly the clubs were opening and stuff, and then certain clubs that I was working before and suddenly weren't booking me. And then you start thinking, is it an age thing, because you're over 50 now, but there are certain clubs like Hot Water in Liverpool, and people they want sort of the audience is 20-year-old Scousers, so they want who they want in front of them, so they can relate to them. When we were doing jonglers 20 odd years ago, they'd be like the old comic in the corner in his 50s, and now suddenly it's us,
Yeah.
because the audience were all sort of our age at the time, so we they could relate to us. But the whole thing's changed anyway, I think now, and you look at like the likes of Jeff Innocent, who's suddenly become an internet sensation, and he's got his little tour going on next year and stuff, and rightly so, brilliant comic. So I think worrying about, I'm not in with that club or I'm not in with that club is gone now. Just carry on doing what you do, and hopefully people like it, and just find your own path, find your own way, and what you're doing here is great.
Thanks, mate.
Yeah, it is, and that this is leading you to somewhere else.
Yeah,
where you're gonna be, not where you think you should be.
Yeah, it's true. It is leaning. I love doing this, and now I'm doing more because I've got the comedy background where I've, like you said, stage time. So now I'm getting asked to do talks so now I'm like, I can do the talks because I've been on stage. So being in front of people now, and it feels like it's going more that way. I'm more into this kind of mental health thing, and I love that because I want people to feel better, and I don't want. I know from myself included, when you're at your lowest ebb, it's fucking awful, and then I think that's why I love doing comedies, because for 20 minutes I can take people out of their shit life. Well, not shit life, but the shit that's happening. Yeah. All the shit that's in their life, and make them laugh for a bit, and then they come away and go, I enjoyed that. I forgot about the fact that bills need paying and that's I love that. That's what I love about comedy, and that's what I have to remind myself. That's why I do it. And we get a bit self-involved sometimes.
I listened to your interview with our good friend Ian Moore, on the last, I think it was the last thing, and him sort of transitioning from his life and in France and travelling back, doing the circuit, and now it's great to see him so happy, isn't it, with his writing and how his career has changed. So that all led to it. His journey of doing that, coming backwards and forwards, all led, I think, to him changing his life. And for the better for him. And he can still dip in and do his bits of corporate stuff, and and we all know he's a brilliant comic, but this author thing has made him who he is today.
It's nice,
and I think this will with you.
Thanks, mate. What was nice actually was when your sister was in, everyone's talking about Jamie, and I didn't realise that was your sister. We'd been to see it, and I just remember I didn't know it was her, but I remember just raving about her, going, because she's got a stunning voice, she was incredible, and just like, holy shit. And it wasn't until I saw you post about her, you were so proud, and it was so lovely, and I was like, oh my god, I had no idea.
It was phenomenal. It was we've been looking, if my sister's called Josie Walker, and for anyone who's listening who hasn't seen her, and she's been we've seen her in musicals all her life. She's we saw the beginning. We were lucky enough to see Matilda when it started. She played Matilda's mum, alongside Paul Kay, who was Dennis Pennis from the TV back in the day. So we saw all that happening, and like many shows that she's been in, Phantom of the Opera, Cats, etc. But then I remember a few years ago, she sent me this song, and it turned out to be the big song that she sang, called "He's My Boy" in the show. And it was I think it's John McCrae from The Feeling. And he said he wrote it. He saw her years ago in another show, and he said, I wrote this song basically with you in mind, because I think you're the only person who could sing this song. And he said, I'm going to write a show around it about this boy in a dress, which it was called The Boy in a Dress. It's a documentary that he saw about this boy that was getting bullied at school because he wanted to go to the prom in a dress up in Sheffield.
That's right,
so we went to see it, and at the Lyceum before it transferred to the West End, and it was just what's it called, the theatre in Sheffield, where they play the snooker.
The Crucible.
Crucible. Yeah, it was on at the Crucible in the round, and we just saw it. And you just when you see a show like that, you just wow. And she sang that song. The relationship between she played the mum of Jamie, the boy, and it was just magical, you know.
Yeah.
She got nominated for the Olivier Award for that.
Wow.
She should have won it, really. I mean, she's been nominated 3 times for the Olivier. She'll get it one day. I
she
suppose.
will. Yeah. Holy shit!
She's brilliant.
That's amazing.
Yeah, because our good friend Phil was in that, wasn't he?
That's it.
He played a part in it, so that's probably why you went to watch it.
That's why we went. I mean, it was a great story anyway. And so we'd heard about it, and it was like, oh yeah, we should go and see that. And then we saw that Phil was in it, and we're like, we should absolutely go to that. And I remember, there was a standing ovation, and we were just elated and raving about it. It was one of the best things I've ever seen. And we were saying like, oh, that woman, she was great, wasn't she?
Incredible.
She was great, wasn't she? Oh yeah, she was really good. It didn't occur to you. I didn't even know she was related to you. It was just a brilliant show, start to finish. Yeah. And it's one of those stories, especially nowadays when people are still fighting against that sort of thing. Like people are saying, oh, well, you're a boy, you should wear this, or you're a girl, you should wear that. And it's like, it's just fucking clothing. Wear what you want. Wear what you want. As long as it's not, sexual and you're you're in front of a school.
It happened. It happened at a good time in history. And I think it just really hit a nerve with people when it came out. It was like the I, Daniel Blake thing. It happened at a time when we needed to remind ourselves what was actually going on in this country, and and that became like the hit that it did with, and turned Davy Johns' life around through the success of it. So I think things happen. If things happen at the right time, shows or movies, just when we need it, they can do really well. And I think that's why Jamie was so successful,
Yeah, and it is that. I saw Eddie Izzard this morning, and they were talking about the fact that they were saying that there isn't a culture war. It's the Tory government making out that we've all got an issue with these things, and we haven't. Most of us haven't. We're just like, look, do what you like. It's up to you.
I almost couldn't believe that the other day when I saw I thought it was a piss take, the Rishi thing saying a man is a man and a woman is a woman and all that stuff. And I thought, what, really? Am I actually watching this? Is this real? Or is this someone doing an impression of someone? It's just...
Yeah, I don't know what to believe anymore.
I can't believe it.
Yeah, because you watch that and you go, is this an AI thing? Has someone done
AI,
this?
Yeah, that's what I thought it was at first. Because I saw it on my phone, it just came up and I just went, wow.
Yeah.
That's the leader of our country.
Yeah, and you just go, are you fucking kidding? And that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to turn us all against each other.
Yeah.
And when we talk to each other, it's like, we're just...
After all we've been through, after all that pandemic, we seem to... I know you sound like an old man. We seem to have got worse. It's got worse instead of better, hasn't it? It's got bloody worse.
But it has, hasn't it? Because since I don't want to say it, but since Brexit, you can see the difference. You can see how fucked everything is, and you can see, and you watch the videos of the Tory party conference, and you see them talking about, we need to stand up and fight, and you're going, well, who are you fighting against? You're not fighting against. What do you mean? What they mean? They're fighting against us. They want us. They need us to be voting for them, and they just go, "No, you're just a shower of shit. You need to just fuck off now." Well, I think we should all put dresses on, all of us, every single one of us,
march in our high heels.
Yeah, all stand together with our lovely dresses on and go, right, go fuck yourself. I mean, you like you said, you grew up in the in the world of cabaret, and so you've been around all of this since you were a kid.
Yeah, I mean, I remember like friends of my dad, who were comedians, who were gay men or whatever, and they were afraid to come out. I mean, it's not that long ago when you think of George Michael and all the stuff that he went through, Freddie Mercury. Well, we knew Freddie Mercury, but George Michael especially, the pressure that must have been on him when Wham was in, because you have to be two boys and the girls have to fancy you and all this lot. And
Yeah.
it must have been awful, you know.
Yeah. Well, we've talked
To
about
be
it.
under that pressure.
And that was it. And it's a pressure that he shouldn't have been under. He didn't have to be under it. Do you know what I mean? Well, it's like we've said this on here a few times about, you know, people in sport and the fact that, you know, like, statistically there must be gay footballers and gay rugby players. Yeah,
it's got to be.
Yeah,
got to be.
But they're terrified to come out because of the shit that they'll get, and it makes no difference. Your sexuality is irrelevant. If you're good at the sport, you're good at the sport. If you're good at singing, you're good at singing. It's just, you know. But there's just this fear that people have of anything different, and that's what the Tory government seem to prey on, isn't it? They kind of tuck into that fear to keep people angry. When you know the world is a much better, like you said, like being in the world of cabaret and going, you know, in Blackpool, Scarborough, all those places. What a wonderful world to be a part of.
Yeah, you are who you are. You know, the song "I Am What I Am." Yeah. Well, that's what that song was all about. You know, I used to think it was just a catchy disco song, but it turns out, you know, it was "I Am What I Am" is like is a gay anthem. You know, accept me for who I am. Yeah. And it's fantastic. You know,
we've had all manner of people on here talking about like living with HIV and things like that, and you know, it's been a real eye opener, and that's it. If we just talk to each other, you'll feel a lot better. I always feel better after I've spoken to people. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, totally. It's rather like I said this the other day. If you've made plans to go and meet someone for coffee, go, make that, stick to those plans. Go and do it, because you'll feel a lot better. I know there's when in the morning of when you said you'll go, and then you go, I can't be fucking arsed. It's raining or whatever. Like, if you push through those feelings, I guarantee in the afternoon you go, I'm really glad I did that. You know? Yeah. Like you doing the Iron Man thing, you went, oh, fuck it, I'm going to do this.
Yeah, I mean, like a friend of mine, like I say, Justin, who did all the training with, he's into his boxing, and he's always been asking me to go to big fights and stuff. And I had a weekend a few weeks ago in Sheffield, and he said, I've got tickets to go and watch the Joe Joyce fight at Wembley Arena. Do you want to come? And I said, you know, I've been so busy this year. And I just went, I said, give me a minute. So I phoned Toby up, who runs the Last Laugh. And I just said, Toby, can you let me out of the Saturday? I really want to go to this, blah, blah. He went, yeah, no problem. And he was really good about it, you know. So I just went, right, I'm going to go. I really want to go with my mate, and because he's invited me, and he's always inviting me. He'll stop inviting me if I don't go. So I went, and we had, I mean, I don't know if I'd go to another boxing thing again, but I really enjoyed it. And I really enjoyed the whole day, going with him, going down on the train to London, staying over, having a few beers, just having a laugh and watching people knock shit out of each other. But it wasn't so much the boxing, whether you like boxing or not. It was just the experience of being somewhere on a Saturday night and going, I could be working and just doing 20 minutes somewhere, but I could have died on my arse, who knows? But, you know, I'd rather be here having a good time with my mate, you know. Yeah,
I think that's the thing. Again, because of what we do, people are like, oh yeah, but you're out and you're working with your mates and all that. And like you've just said, it's quite a lonely existence a lot of the time. You'll see people in green rooms, but then you won't see them again and then you're either in the car driving back home, and that's another 3 or 4 hours, or you're in a travel lodge somewhere on your own, and it's a very lonely. So I think you're right, making those plans, just going, do you know what, actually I'll be all right. I can have that night off. I think we used to worry a lot. I know I did. I could never have a night off. No. I've missed out on weddings and holidays and birthdays and all sorts because I've gone. No, I need to do it.
I missed my own birth. I had a gig. I had a gig in the Uterus Lounge.
I can't make it. I can't make it. Video it for me. Yeah.
Tough crowd. They're very young.
It's that. But now, so our friend Al Barry messaged me yesterday, and he went, "Do you want to go and see? There's a band playing next September." And he said, I've just picked up 4 tickets. He goes, do you want to go? It's me and Ben Norris and someone else. And I went, do you know what? Yeah, I will. So
Yeah, get involved.
There's a Saturday next year in September where I've booked a night off.
Do it.
That's mad.
Yeah.
But even now I'm sweating. I'm like, oh no, but I'm gonna.
Oh yeah.
You just
What if a corporate comes in?
Oh yeah, but that's it. You can't. It's important to just go and see your mates sometimes.
Oh, you have to, yeah. And I think like holidays, I never used to bother about in my sort of 20s and 30s. You know, and then when I became a dad. And then we got some really good friends a few years ago that we go on to Greece with, and so that became a yearly thing. And I made sure that let's book it out, let's book these things off in advance and make sure we do them, because before you know it, the year's gone.
Yeah.
And then they stop. Oh, he's always busy. We won't ask him. You know.
Yeah.
You miss out, and when you're there, you have such a great time, don't you?
Yeah. I mean, that's it.
And it's important. You come back refreshed. You think, right, I'm looking forward to getting back and doing stuff. But I've done that now, and I've spent quality time with good friends or family, and had a good time, and then you can get back to what you do.
I find
it's important.
Yeah, I struggled with it for years. My lovely ex-wife, India, she was always like, we need a holiday, we're going on holiday. And I always saw holidays as a privilege. It was like an extra, it was like...
We don't go on holiday.
No, you don't go on holiday. And then growing up, it was, you know, we never went abroad. We only ever went camping. And so I used to struggle with it. But once we'd go, after the first couple of days when I stopped thinking about the money I'm losing, I'd be like, oh, I'm glad I did this. Yeah.
I could be in Jongleurs Portsmouth now.
Dying on my ass. Yeah. It's important to take time out. It's important to go and see your friends. It's important now and again just to go and do something else. And
because it'll make you better anyway, and more ready to get back to what you're doing. You know, rather than just because sometimes you'll take a gig just because it's a gig, and then it turns out to be a horrible gig, and you think, well, I'd rather have got a takeaway and sat at home with my missus, or gone to the cinema, or rather than just taking the gig for the sake of it.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes it's best. Sometimes you have to learn to say no. I have learned to say no quite a bit, especially since lockdown. You know, I am. Before I used to say yes to everything. Yeah. But now I just go, hang on a minute, I don't know whether I fancy that. You know.
But it's just that. It's just actually, just doing something else.
Because it's not going to change. 200 quid's not going to change your life, is it?
No. And you're going to spend that on petrol now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, half of it goes on petrol.
Yeah. I think it's important. I think if you take anything away from this episode, is that go and see your friends, go and spend time with your family, have a night where you just get a takeaway and
look after yourself.
You
know, give yourself a bit of self-love, whether it's going out for a walk or getting on a bike. You know, set yourself a goal of doing something. You know, set up your own podcast, write a book, or do something that will give you something to focus towards, rather than just wallowing in your own self-pity, which is easy to slip into. We've all done it, like you said earlier. You know, I've done it. We've all done it. But I think if you try and give yourself a little goal, it doesn't have to be massive. Just going out for a couple of hours walk or something. Just start from that and see where you go.
Yeah, absolutely. It will make a difference. Absolutely. And what's been happening lately, because my missus watches. She's a comic as well. But
I've not seen her work yet, but
she's great.
Love to see her. I've heard good things.
Yeah, she's great. And I didn't. You know what? I always knew she was all right. So she's cool. She's great. But last night I watched her. And I'm like, fuck. All right. No, I can see it, because I haven't seen her MC properly before, and she fucking roofed it. And I'm like, go on, that's it. And I was so proud of her. It was brilliant. And then we went home and we've been watching Married at First Sight, and we've been watching Bake Off, which I hated. I didn't want to watch any of them. And now I just shout at the telly.
Yeah.
He's a dick. He's a prick. Fuck him. What a bunch of wankers. And then I watch Bake Off. I'm like, well, and then I'm like, he's fuck that. Keith's out this week. That's not good bread, that mate. You're out.
Well, we're all bread experts after lockdown, aren't we?
Yeah.
Scones. No one could touch my scones.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what did I? Oh no, I don't think I was with somebody that was massively into cooking. So she was just like, I'm going to do this today. Yeah, I put on about 400 stone. Just she made her own donuts and she made this and she made that and. Yeah. Oh my God! Yeah. I didn't realise how big I'd got.
We were all in our pajamas or elasticated pants, weren't we? For 2 years.
And then when you finally have to go back outside, you put on a bit of weight when you've gone up a shoe size.
Yeah. Well, I remember I put my jeans on for the first time in 8 months. I hadn't worn my jeans. I was just in tracky bottoms or shorts.
Yeah.
With like sports shorts. And I hadn't put my jeans on that I used to wear for gigs. I couldn't even get them over my thighs. I'd put like so much weight on.
Yeah.
So, all right, okay, I need to get out on that bike.
Yeah, and then you went completely the other way. Cycled yourself to death.
I know.
When you're running a marathon, is there a minute like halfway through and you're like, what am I doing? Why am I doing? Or you just have to be
not halfway through, straight away. The Ironman, the worst bit for me was the swim. That's what I was panicking about, and it never leaves you. Swimming in a pool is different to swimming in a lake.
Yeah.
And then I'd swam in a lake, obviously practicing, but I'd never swam in a lake with 2,000 other people. And suddenly, when you're getting battered in the head, and you've got like people trying to fight and get a rhythm, and
oh God, yeah.
You can't. Right, I'll just stop and put my feet down on the floor till I get my breath. No, because it's a lake. You're in it.
Yeah.
I had to really take a minute to myself and just because the safety kayaks and stuff like that there when you do these events, just in case anyone comes in any trouble. But I seriously had to talk to myself then and just went, hang on a minute, Phil. You've trained 2 years for this. You're on your own. You can either swim across to the shore or to that kayak or crack on. And I just made the decision to crack on, because I went, no, I'm going to do this. This is what I want to do. I put myself in this position. So that was the worst bit for me. But when I got to the marathon part of it, I was more relieved that I'd made the cut-off time, because you've got to get past certain sections in a cut-off time.
Oh, right.
Otherwise, you don't finish. Yeah, so you've got like a certain amount of time to finish the swim. You've got a certain amount of time from starting the swim to getting to the bike, to finishing the bike leg. So if you don't finish the bike leg in time to do the run, they just say, right, you can't carry on because you've gone over the time. So I was so relieved and elated because I just thought, well, I've got a chance of becoming an Ironman now. This is what all I've got to do is stagger to the finish, and I'll do it. So I was more sort of relieved. The bike was horrible that day. It was blowing a gale. There's a load of inclines, and the road surfaces are awful. So you're worried about getting a puncture or smashing your wheel up or anything like that. I was that relieved to get off the bike and having done the swim as well, that I was actually enjoyed in a sick way the marathon, just more out of relief that I was still alive.
Mate,
because there was and out of 1,500 people that day that set off, there was only 800 of us finished, so it's almost half the field didn't finish.
I didn't realise. Yeah, of course. There's time limits on each stage. I didn't realise that.
Yeah,
that makes total sense. Yeah, otherwise you'd just be going all day.
People would just carry on.
Yeah,
yeah, because they have to shut the roads down as well. You see, so because you've got all these thousands of bikes cycling through, so they close all the roads off, and they can only do it for so long because of expense.
Yeah.
So there's that pressure on you as well. You put all this training in, but if you I was talking to a couple of lads who'd come back who'd just missed it the year before, and fair play to them. I hope they did it because they were like they were gutted that they just missed out, doing the run.
God, yeah, you've gone through all that.
It was like by minutes as well.
Mate, that would kill me.
I know.
You've gone through all the swimming and the cycling, and then they go, no, you're a minute out.
There's one guy on YouTube this year, and I think he was the last to finish, because you've got 17 hours from start to finish. That's the limit to finish it. And I think he was running up the final bit at like 1 minute to go, and he basically made it by seconds.
Jesus.
And the whole crowd, there was because you get a full crowd turns out for it. There's people cheering people on, and this guy just basically fell over the line.
Fucking hell!
And he was determined to do it.
Yeah, it's funny when we did the 3 peaks, and then everybody, bless them, there was a couple of lads that were very sporty and athletic. One of them was a gym teacher, I think. So as soon as we started, they were just off. They were gone, and I realised 10 minutes in, oh shit, I haven't prepared enough for this. Fuck, I was sick on Ben Nevis.
Yeah.
And you're going, oh God, and then we got lost.
But he wasn't happy.
No. Furious was old Ben. and then we got lost at Scafell Pike. We went down the wrong way because we were talking to these American party. They were doing it as well, and we forgot which way we were going. We went walking off the wrong way. So that was an hour, and then we got chatting in a lay-by when we were having something to eat, and we lost track of time. And we we got to go. And then we got to Snowdon, and then everyone went right. And then the guy that was driving the minibus was my mate, Mr. Ian's dad, and he said, "I'm going to walk Snowdon with all of you." And then they went, and I ended up staying with him. He stayed with me, and then everyone else just legged it up Snowdon. They all just went like, "We'll see you back at the van, mate." I went, "Yeah, just go." Anyway, I got to the top of Snowdon. There was a moment we were stood, and we were above the clouds, and the sun had come up, and I'm just looking across, and you could see. Is it Crosby? You could see something like that, and it was through the clouds, and you could see the outline of the sea, and you're like, this is beautiful, this is amazing, totally worth it. Walk back to the minibus, and then there wasn't like, hey, well done. It was everyone just fucked in the minibus going, well done, you fucking prick, get in the van. So yeah, it's different.
Yeah. Well, you did it. You did it. You stuck in it.
Yeah.
You stuck in there, and you did it, mate.
It just goes to show what you can achieve when you really get stuck in.
Yeah.
And I'm glad we did this, Phil. Sorry it's taken so long, mate, but we got there, and we've had you on, and I'm so pleased.
Cheers, mate.
Where can we find you on the socials, Phil?
Oh, I'm all over the socials. Phil Walker Comic, COMIC. On most of them, so yeah, Instagram and all that sort of stuff.
Lovely. And where are you going to be gigging? Are you around and about the place? Are you off on the cruises? What are you doing?
Well, yeah, I've got one more cruise. I'm doing a gig in Woodford tomorrow for Agraman.
Nice. Agraman, is he still around?
He's been, he started me off on the sort of comedy club circuit, and he's been a real constant to me.
Yeah.
And he supported me, so I support him. I still do the gigs for him.
Lovely, man.
So I'm doing that, and then I'm off on a cruise, and then I've got a few one-nighters here and there, and then I'm going to Belfast to do Panto over there, doing Snow White over there.
Oh, lovely.
So I'm going to be there for mid-November till mid-January. It's a long run. Yeah, so I'm going to be over there for Christmas and everything. So looking forward to going back to where it all started.
Yeah,
that's where I was born in Ireland. I've got my Irish passport.
Oh, yeah, of course you were.
Yeah.
Oh, mate.
My dad'll be over, no doubt, to see the show. So he'll probably get a hero's welcome.
How's he doing? Is he all right?
He's doing great. We did a mini tour together last year, sort of a father and son thing, which was really nice to do. And we did the Irish Comedy Festival in an old church.
Oh, wow.
An old reclaimed church. And the love for him was just incredible. The people that came out, they absolutely love him over there.
Yeah.
We went out for a few drinks afterwards. Everywhere we went, he was mobbed.
There's so much love. There's so much love for him.
Yeah, and it's amazing the what we call the younger comics, but Patrick Keelty and people like that, they really love him. You know, the Irish comics. And even when he did the Edinburgh Festival about 10 years ago, and did his one-man show up there, and him and Jim Jeffries really hit it off.
Oh wow!
Him and Jim became like unusual, really good buddies. So he was going round and people. I remember Jim went out for a few drinks with him, and Jim saying people were coming up and saying, "Oh, do you mind if I have a picture?" And he was like posing for a picture, and they went no, and they gave him the camera to take a picture. So Jim Jeffries is taking pictures of my dad, with random people, which
Mate.
he found really amusing.
That's brilliant.
Brought him back down to earth.
But your dad's a legend, and you know, like I say, before Catchphrase, he was a big part of our household. So I'm glad to hear
people forget what a great what a great comic he was, and still is. You know, all that sort of. I think that's why I liked Jack D when I first started, because it was that deadpan sort of stuff. And before Catchphrase, my dad sort of used to do. If anyone Googles him on his comedy that he did, it was very straight. They call it a deadpan, where you don't smile.
Yeah,
you know, a lot of comics smile after a joke, but he was like serious.
Yeah,
I think that was the beauty of the comedians. Everyone was different.
Yeah,
you know, you had Frank Carson, the loud one, and you had like Bernard Manning, who was like the aggressive one, and my dad, the quiet one, Mick Miller with his bald head and one-liners. So it was a unique. I think a show like that would probably work today if you got a load of, because there's quite a few good one-line comics about, isn't there? You know, if you got a few different styles of people.
Yeah. And your
bring
dad,
back the comedians.
I think so. And and like your dad, like you say, to do it deadpan is fucking hard.
Yeah.
To do it without
he was doing,
smiling.
and some of the stories he tells me of doing the clubs back in the day, you know, he was doing like hard working men's clubs up in the northeast of England, up in Newcastle and Sunderland. Walking out, he always he admired people like Tom Jones and Engelbert Humperdinck and all these sort of people that he talks about, and he always had a tailor-made suit. Even when we were really poor, when we were kids,
wow.
he got a suit made. So he walked on, and he, you know, in these working men's clubs, looking immaculate.
Yeah.
And then just doing a clean act. No, he never swore. You know, just doing a clean act, and he would slow down and bring these rowdy audiences to him. You know, rather than, you know, the automatic thing like when we did Jongleurs was to shout and be loud and grab the audience straight away. Otherwise, you're going to lose them. Whereas he would like let them come to him, and it you know, it's an amazing thing to watch when it happens. Yeah,
it's a real skill as well to be able to do that and not panic. But yeah, he's been an influence, and have to send him my love. I think he knows who I am. Just say that spoke to this idiot today, and he said, "Nice one." Thanks, Phil. This has been a real pleasure. And yeah, look after yourself, mate. You're doing a great job.
You too.
Take care, man. This has been Insane in the Membrane. I've been Rich Wilson. This has been my good friend, Mr. Phil Walker, and we'll see you next time.
Insane in the Membrane.